Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We're very glad you're with us this morning. It's August 7th, 2026. Please note this event is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading this North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group started in the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org, a website to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. If you see me in person, I have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the PIC crew, also known as the Practice Interview Team. And you'll hear more about them in just a few minutes. Our agenda this morning is to start out with success stories. We'll then do 30-second introductions for everybody here in the room, and then we'll do 30-second introductions for those online. If any recruiters are with us, we'll share job leads, and then we'll go to the interview success workshop, the practice interview team, the career tip of the week, and then the main event about the top of the hour. Well, I like to start the meeting off with good news. Do we have any landings to announce today? We went 4 weeks in a row with landings, so taking a week off today. All right, nobody out there. Anybody online landing? Nope. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, for everybody who's online, if you will, open up your chat box. Give us your name, the position you're looking for, your 2 or 3 target companies that we may be able to help you with. Give us your email, your LinkedIn address if you'd like, your phone and city. And then if you have companies that you have connections that you can help other people, please list those in the chat window and we will get that chat out to everybody. If you don't copy it today, I will send it out tomorrow with everybody who's out there. So we'll get 30 seconds on the clock to get started. If you're typing, please continue on typing. And we'd like to, let me check one thing. Somebody sent me a note. Okay. It's time. Let's do interview. Let's do your 30-second introductions. We'll start out with everybody in the room. So if you will, come line up, grab the microphone. First person, turn it on. Go for it, Todd.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Todd Haney. I'm looking for roles in customer success, customer experience, or communications. I need contacts at Simpson Strong Tie and Power School. I have contacts through my association with the Association for Talent Development. I'm on the board in the Dallas chapter, and I'm happy to help there. My name is Todd Haney. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Polly Dunn. I'm an office manager and administrative professional with 10 plus years of experience. I bring order to complex, fast-paced environments by building systems that save time, reduce costs, and keep operations running smoothly so that leadership and teams can focus on what they do best. And my name is Polly Dunn, and I could use connections with Alpine Armoring, Valitana, and Highway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi, I'm Jason Rice. I'm looking for a position as a senior software engineering manager. I tend to make I make a good mentor. people get famous after they work for me, but not me. I'm looking for a little bit of help finding people inside Caterpillar and CAE. I've just come from H&P, a great company. They're primarily in Tulsa. So reach out to me if you're trying to get in with those guys. They're great folks. Jason Rice.
Hello, my name is David Skelton. I'm a 15-year veteran in financial services working within model risk management, data science and artificial intelligence, both design and review. I'm looking for jobs in that field, anything at financial services, either in internal audit, risk management, or front office line, business line jobs, first line of defense. I have contacts at Bank of America, Citibank, USAA, Schwab, as well as Capital One and BBVA Compass and Wells Fargo. I need contacts at all those institutions as well as any other banks, small regional banks, or any other type of financial institution where I might be able to make a connection. My name again is David Skelton.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Skelton. I am a project manager and interior designer with over 15 years experience. I'm looking to work for a hopefully commercial architectural firm. I have my network in the Alabama area, so I'm looking to build relationships and a network in the DFW area. My name is Alyssa Skelton.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Kim Nagley, and I'm looking for a sales position that's on the consultative side or perhaps purchasing. I've got deep experience in both of those areas. Contacts, again, companies that are probably more life science, agriculture type products related in the DFW area. Just started the job search about a month ago, so kind of just doing research on the companies yet. My name's Kim Nagley.
Great, thank you.
That's it.
All right, anybody else here? All right, let's go online, if you will, for everybody who's online. If you'll raise your hand, that way I remember to only call on you one time. Steve, we'll let you go first.
Good morning. My name is Steve Rowan. I'm a retired .NET developer. I've got contacts at Fiserv and the VA, and I need help with Southwest Airlines. My name is Steve Rowan.
Thank you, Steve. Chris.
Good morning. My name is Chris Duncan. I'm a project manager with over 20 years experience in the market research industry, partner with clients and cross-functional teams to turn strategic priorities into organized on-time execution. I'm looking for a similar PM role, ideally in a nonprofit company. I don't have any target companies at this time, but happy to connect on LinkedIn. I'm Chris Duncan.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Linnane. I'm a communications professional, typically working internally. I bring clarity to complex topics whenever your employees need it most. I am currently looking for contacts at Bell. I'm in the middle of the interview process there, Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman, and I can assist with some contacts at Blue Yonder, and then also the gentleman that stated a few moments ago, Jason Rice. I shared my LinkedIn in the chat, but if you could contact me, I know someone at CAT.
Jennifer,
Yes.
You're interested in Bell Flight?
Yes. Hi, Michelle.
I personally know the HR manager there. We need to connect.
Okay. Awesome.
Great, thank you very much. Humphrey.
Sorry, good morning. My name is Humphrey Columba. I'm looking for quality assurance tester or analyst positions. I've worked the majority of my career in financial. I've worked at GM Financial, Cash America. So I'm looking at Toyota and city or any bank companies that have software. My name is Humphrey Palumba.
Thank you, William.
Good morning, everybody. My name is William McLaughlin, currently seeking a business analyst role, and target companies include Cinemark and GameStop. And just to remind everyone, the next Dallas meetup event is coming up on Thursday at Texas Live in Arlington. Link for sign up will be posted in the chat. Advanced sign up is required, by the way. Over 2,000 people have RSVP'd to this event, so if you don't attend this, you are missing out on a fantastic networking opportunity. And I'm going to try something different to see if more people talk to me there. So you will have to attend to find out what that is. Again, my name is William McLaughlin. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Werner.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Werner. I specialize in the systems behind the credit cards and digital payments people use every day. Essentially, I help banks and fintech companies solve the complex operational problems that slow their products down. Right now, I'm exploring program manager opportunities within banking or fintech here in the Chicago area. My name is John Werner. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheldon.
Good morning, everybody. Sheldon Weinstein, and I'm based out of Cincinnati. And I'm a senior sales leader in the consumer packaged goods industry, or think in terms of food or beverage brands. I lead customer sales teams with either national or regional, within national or regional geographies. And I've done that inside both large matrixed organizations and smaller private equity companies where they've had no playbook and I've had to build that from scratch. And I'm seeking a director to a VP sales leadership role in a medium-sized food or beverage company. Again, I'm Sheldon Weinstein.
Thank you, Sheldon. Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle Hawk. I have years of experience in cash applications with revenue operations. I post payments, I send out bank statements, make collection calls. Basically, I'm looking for a position to go back into security systems. I have a former boss from ADT over at Everon. If I can find anybody that has a contact in Everon, because she's making it hard to get connected with her. Otherwise, I want to go back into third-party dental surgeon at Pacific Dental, if anybody else has a contact in that. I appreciate your help. This is Michelle Hawk.
Thank you, Florence.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Florence Hogan, and I'm a customer insights and market intelligence leader. I connect the customer, competitive, and market intelligence to reveal opportunities, expose risks, and guide the strategic decisions that increase business growth. My target industries are within financial services, insurance, consumer services, and technology. And a few of the companies that I'm targeting this week is TIAA. I'm still targeting State Farm. I'm looking for contacts at State Farm, USAA, and then Ernst & Young, EY. Again, my name is Florence Hogan. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosina.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I am your Career Tip of the Week host, so I'll be back shortly. I'm looking for a position as a Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner, Senior Recruiter, HR Generalist, or HR Specialist position, and I'm looking for contacts at TIAA Frisco or T-Mobile. And I have contacts at a variety of different places, so as we connect, let me know who you need to be introduced to. Again, my name is Rosina Gallman, Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner or Senior Recruiter, HR Generalist, or HR Specialist position. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Joel.
Hi, my name is Joel Rowe. I am a creative director, art director, designer with experience, agency experience, and in-house environments. I specialize in turning business strategies into strong brand identities, campaigns, and digital experiences, as well as print. And I am looking again for a position either in-house or with a design firm or agency. I'm Joel Rowe. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Anybody else online who I have not called on yet?
Hello, yes. I don't know how to raise hand here. I think I lost that. But my name is Simin Rad. I'm looking for a mid-level accounting position in a Plano area, in its TPA's corporate office. This week I applied for Samsung, for Lincoln Property, and for Ecolab. So if someone has connection there, please reach out to me. Thank you. Again, this is Simin Rad.
Great, thank you. Doug?
Yeah, hi, I'm Doug Maxim. I'm looking for opportunities as a third-party risk manager, and I'm looking at Toyota Motor Corporation. I need contacts at Lockheed Martin. I have contacts at Raytheon and at Ernst & Young. My name is Doug Maxim.
Great. Anyone else online?
Yes, Danelle. So, hi, my name is Danelle Knight, and I am an HR director looking for an opportunity to help organizations strengthen their engagement, their culture, performance management, by having them see that by retaining employees, they can reduce other recruiting costs and use that money in another area. I'm looking for some contacts at Kenview and also Samsung. And my name is, and I have contacts at Fragman, and my name is Danelle Knight.
Thank you, Scott.
Morning, Scott Boudreau, Certified Planning Inventory Management, looking for a supply chain job in Central New Jersey or remotely, specializing in inventory control or production planning. Scott Boudreau.
Thank you. Anyone else online? All right, we'll move ahead. I don't see Tracy on with us today, so we'll skip past that. Time for the Interview Success Workshop in Walt class.
Good morning, and thank you much, Jeff. It's great to be here with you. How many we got online today?
Let's try to look at 26.
26. Okay, well, welcome to you all that's online. Welcome to you all that's present in the room. It's good to see you this Friday. My name is Walt Glass, and I'd love to help you get that job sooner. And I focus on interviewing because all the things that we do with our resume, our bio, our LinkedIn profile, our networking, all leads to get that phone call so that we can get an interview. And so how do we really maximize ourselves and do a great job in demonstrating who we are, what we do, and how we help? People don't hire us just to be a project manager. That's just what we do. They need that. They want that skill and experience. They want that expertise. But at the same time, we want you to use that expertise to accomplish and achieve results. So we make sure we want to sell results as well as who we are for the culture fit, what we do, and how we can help. So how do we do that? Well, I have a free interview success workshop. Okay, all together now, let's read the slide because it tells you almost the information. The main thing about the workshop is that it's free and it's a learning interview. It's not a mock interview. We want to learn how to sell. So there's 12 basic categories of questions. We're going to discuss strategy, structures, options, how we might approach that category. Depends on the question, depends on who's asking, and it depends on where you are in the process. So how can we approach those things? You're also going to get a handout with a video. You're going to get a video of your interview. You interview each other. I supply the questions for you in the chat window as you interview each other. Excuse me. Tuesdays, 9/11 Central. Be glad to have you participate. Look me up on my About section, gives you all the details. So the About section is all about the workshop. So look that up and you can see how to register. My Yahoo email address is on my banner page along with my phone number so you can easily reach me and we can get you on the schedule. There is a wait list. So If you have any inclination whatsoever of coming and practicing, sign up now. All right, get on the list now. I call it learning without squirming. Okay, so I'd be glad to have you join us. All right. Do we sometimes feel doom and gloom? Do we fear interviewing on Zoom? I sing the practicing tune. We can get that job and land very soon. I am Walt Glass.
Thank you very much, Walt. All right. I'll just talk a little bit about the practice interview team. They meet every Wednesday on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month, right here in person at Christ United Methodist Church at Coit and Parker in Plano. On the fourth Wednesday of the month, they meet online only, so that way anybody around the United States can watch an interview. They do 3 interviews each week. This is a great opportunity to, number one, watch somebody else being interviewed, so the pressure is not on you, and you can learn by what the other person said. Oh, that was really great the way they said it, or I would change what they said. You know, they say something you really shouldn't see. It's just a great way to watch somebody else. And then when you're ready, go schedule your own interview. They like to say, practice early, practice often. Don't wait until you have an interview to schedule an interview. Just send a resume and a job description to dallaspickcrew@gmail.com, and they'll get you on the schedule. They do 3 interviews every week. The nice thing is it's about 45-minute interview, and then they'll have 15 or 20 minutes of feedback. And you don't get feedback when you go to a real interview. Here you'll get real feedback. So come join them. It's a very unique thing. I don't know of anybody else doing this in the country, this format. Come join us if you can. All right, time for the career tip of the week. Good morning again, Rosina.
Good morning again, Jeff. And good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. All right, let's get on with it. All right, so this week's career tip of the week is part 3 of the series, the top 50 job search prompts. Part 1 and 2 were 50 each, but this one is actually 31 prompts. So in total, you'll get 131 job search prompts. So as I said, part 3, the 31 that are in this package is the only 6 AI prompts that you must use to get hired in 2026, and 25 proven AI prompts that will help you land more job interviews. It's an additional download, so you'll have to take care of that separately. So the original prompt that I used was, please create a list of the top 50 job search prompts used to access AI platforms like Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity, and that yield the highest results in finding a job by job title, job category, and industry. That was the original prompt used in parts 1 and 2, and it's still relevant to part 3 because this video and 31 prompts, they all came as part of one of the results from that prompt. So there's a video link. So there's 11 minutes of video for this particular part 3. Part 3 is by Professor Heather Austin. She is a university professor as well as now turned entrepreneur. So with that said, I have the link to the video. She explains the 6 AI prompts that you must use to get hired in 2021 and how each of them are relevant. And then there's a link to download the additional 25 proven AI prompts that will help you land more job interviews. Now, please note, because I did say she has turned entrepreneur, that means it's going to be a paid program or service attached. At Career DFW, we don't encourage or promote the sign up of any paid program. We're just bringing you additional educational information to help increase your knowledge and assistance in the job search process. So the only 6 AI prompts that you must use to get hired in 2026. The first category is extracting keywords from job descriptions. Second category is tailoring your professional resume summary. Third is turn responsibilities into achievements. Fourth, optimizing your LinkedIn headline. Fifth, identify skill gaps. And sixth, interview prep. So each of the categories will have a prompt under each. And then the 25 proven AI prompts that will help you land more job interviews. Like I said, that is an additional download. There are 5 sections to that document. Section 1 focuses on finding the right opportunities. So find and evaluate the right roles. Section 2, optimizing your resume. Turn your resume into an interview-winning document. Third section, optimize your LinkedIn. Turn your LinkedIn into a recruiter magnet. Fourth, interview preparation. Prepare for interviews with confidence. And then fifth, salary and strategy. Position yourself for better offers. So with all of these, like I said, parts 1, 2, and 3, job search prompts, that should position you quite significantly across a variety of different areas to make sure your brand, your positioning, your achievements, accomplishments, everything about you is positioned properly for the job search process, carrying you through finding the right role, getting the interview, and basically negotiating a salary. So I hope you guys enjoy all 131 job search prompts to get you to the position of landing your new job. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
Rosina, thank you very, very much. I'd just like to mention this once a month, careerdfw.org and the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are 2 different organizations. The only common thread is that I happen to lead both at this point. You're welcome to overthrow me here anytime you want to take over the Friday meetings, but you're not going to get Career DFW out of my hands. And Career DFW happens to be a 501c3 nonprofit organization. There's no full or part-time employees. Everything I've done with Career DFW has just been as a volunteer. So when you land your next job, if you want to help future job seekers out, please make a donation. All right, today for lunch, we're going to go to Mama's Pizza, 2130 West Parker Road. It's on Parker, about a half block west from Custer. They've got a pizza buffet, salad bar, and hot cinnamon rolls. So if you want to join, come join us after the meeting. It's a great way to network some more with everybody else who's here today. We'll take a hand count at the end of the session here. If you want to receive today's materials, you'll get a link to the YouTube video when it gets posted tomorrow. You get a copy of the career tip of the week that Rosina just read, and you'll get actually all 3 sessions from the last 2 weeks also. So she's included all 3 this week. You'll get a copy of the Zoom chat. To make sure you've got it for everybody who's here in person, make sure if you're brand new, you filled out one of those little slips of paper. And if it's legible, I'll get you added to the roster. If you don't hear from me by tomorrow afternoon, reach back out to me, because that means I couldn't find you for a reason. For everybody who's online, please make sure you include your email address in the chat, and make sure your name's there. I know somebody is called Samsung and you're a phone thing, but please put your name on there so I know what name goes with an email address, and I don't have to try to figure that out. All right. Here are some people who have sent us their LinkedIn address, but they didn't send us their name. They don't have an email address. And I looked them up on LinkedIn and I don't see an email address. So if I was recruiter, I couldn't reach any one of these people. So if your name is on this list, please get your email address in the chat window so I can get you off of this list. All right, today our main event is we're going to do open forum. We're going to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. I'm going to stop sharing so we can see everybody. Please turn on your camera so we can see everybody who's out there. That'll be a big help. Oh, let me see here. Somebody sent me a message. No, okay. And so we are going to do open forum. We'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. So who wants to start? Who's got a question about their job search?
I have a question.
Okay.
Jennifer Linane here. I am trying to nail down like a 1 or 2 liner answer for kind of explaining away my employment gap. What is the best approach? I've been told so much. Do I want to kind of like praise everything I learned in my last role and be like, unfortunately, a restructure eliminated my position and just like cut and dry and leave it there? Or do I say something and then flip it and ask them a question?
Comments?
My recommendation is just keep it simple and then quickly pivot to another topic. If you're
like what? What do I do when I feel like my whole world has fallen apart and be like, so are you going to help me?
No, you just simply say, hey, the business went through a reorganization. My role was impacted. Boom. Move on to the next. I mean, that's kind of, let's face it, an increasingly common state of
it is what it is, but
when a lot of people are dealing with it, people understand it. So don't dwell on it, but be factual and then pivot, move on to something you want to talk about.
Got it. Thank you.
One thing, this is Doug Maxim. One thing I'm doing, like I've been out since last October, and in a cybersecurity, what that means for me is I'll quickly get obsolete. So I've done several things I can speak to about what I've done with that time. Like I'm looking to finish an AI governance practitioner certification that I will hopefully finish by September. I have some publications that I've published on that I've written and published on LinkedIn, and I've also what was the third thing? Anyway, yeah, if you can find things that are like, 10, 15-hour projects. Oh, I know what I did. I developed since I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with AI in cybersecurity, but I've been using AI for several years, I created a portfolio and created 15 companies with varying types of data connectivity. In other words, just different cybersecurity profiles. And I'm creating different AI use cases with about.
You're showing how you've stayed relevant.
Yeah, and so I have that portfolio now that I could say I created this portfolio, etc. So I think that's something I would recommend is think about what are some things I can do to quickly publish on LinkedIn, to show that I'm relevant. And volunteer work is great,
Yeah, I have that. I definitely
but
have
I think
volunteer
the big thing too is your statement that something happened beyond your control.
Yeah.
David Skelton, to add to this conversation, I would say in my previous role, I was also impacted by a restructuring last week, in fact. And so that previous role, I was a hiring manager. And over the course of the 8 years I served in that role, I hired about 25 people. So people would come to me with exactly this situation. I was impacted at my previous work. And I agree with the gentleman who said, start out by just being honest, saying I was impacted, and then move to the next topic. I would say that next topic should be, though, how are your skills going to fill the needs of the individual that you're speaking to? So as the hiring manager there, I would look for, after the honest answer of I was impacted, how do you now have the skills to help me as the hiring manager to be able to accomplish the goals that I'm setting out for my team? So if in my world in financial services, it was looking for skills like data analytics and things of that nature, but make it about yourself. Make the conversation about your skills. Don't make it about how you are needing them to help you. Make it about how you are going to apply these skills to help them. And ask questions. You can, if you need a moment of to breathe and ask them a question about what their top priorities are. And then as they are answering that question, be thinking in your mind, how do I have the skills that will apply to those priorities that they're telling me. So if their priorities are, I have XYZ reports that I need to get done each month, and I need people who will be able to do that, talk about your skill in writing reports in your last job in response to that need. If they have the skill of, I need to fill XYZ positions, talk about how you have the skills that would suit those positions exactly right. Make it about your conversation. So really turn that whole being removed from your previous position into an advantage by making it about the skills and about how your skills fill the need, rather than making it about how I was impacted and now I'm looking for whatever I can do in order to fill a hole in my situation. Make it about how you can fill the need in their situation.
Got it. Thank you.
If I heard you right, there may be two questions that we're talking about here. One is, why'd you leave your last job? The other one is, can you explain the gaps? And it may be the recent gap, or it could be multiple gaps that you've had, or whatever. So we need to be prepared to explain every gap in our resume as to what happened during that. And so you've already gotten some good advice on, so here's what I've done in the meantime. And so that answers that question. But when you say why you left, I want to put a little extra spin and a little extra stuff. You say, well, I left my job because, and you've already gotten the advice of very brief, downsized, had a mother, did actually what. But that brings me to what I'm here with you today. You don't just answer that. You move right into, this is the job that I want. This is the company where I want to work. And then you can ask a question. What are your main challenges? In fact, I suggest you ask that up front, but yeah, ask a question. You don't want to spend a lot of time on the negative. You want to get up for that and move it to the positive.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Jennifer, I just sent you a private chat message. Just wanted to let you know in case you didn't see it.
About to connect with you. Thank you.
Okay, a new question.
This is something that I've had in every interview, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I've never really been sure how to answer it, and a really good recruiter had given me a good answer, which I've always used. And the question is, tell me about your weaknesses and so forth. Well, what I've always said was, as an administrative professional, people are always coming and asking me, to do tasks and different things. And so I'm working on what I've got for the day. I'm pretty covered up, but someone comes and says, hey, could you do this for me today? It's just really important. I got to get this done. And my tendency, my weakness, is that I hate to say no to anyone. I'm just that way, period. But I've learned to have everything so prioritized and then offer a suggestion such as, I would love to do that. Could I do it first thing tomorrow morning? Or, I could stay a little later today if I need to get that done. And usually when I do that, people are really great at, saying, oh, sure, yeah, fine. So that's how I handle that question. Is that a good way to answer that question today? I mean, things are different. This is like in 2009, this recruiter I had, and I thought it was a really good way to answer the question, and it is very true about me. But is that something that would be good in an interview for, say, an office manager job?
Comments?
Hey, Polly. So I guess what you're asking is how to answer the question, what my weaknesses are. I think you talked about, well, obviously you pick the least offensive weakness and keep it down to one, and then talk to them about how you've addressed that or how you've worked it. So, one of my shortcomings is because I come from a world of education, I jump right into, and I've learned that I need to slow down and think things through and use my reporting skills from back when I did that to say, all right, let me think about this and ask the right questions. So just talk about how you're addressing this supposed weakness.
Anybody else? Hold on.
I agree with what have all been said on the question about weaknesses. When I was hiring and I'd ask that question, I was always looking for um, a willingness to evaluate, self-evaluate. So honesty about what you struggle with, and again, how do you address it? Perfect answer. Really, I think what employers are looking for when they ask this question is not a long list of weaknesses, but just a attitude of self-evaluation and willingness to continue growing. Because ultimately, I had an employee once that I can think of who thought he was perfect and did not think that. I mean, he told me, use those exact words actually in one-to-ones, that he had nothing to improve on. And I learned a lesson after having that person work for me. I learned a lesson. So when I asked that question, when I would be interviewing, I was thinking of that guy, looking for someone and trying to identify, is this another person who's going to be a problem for me, unwilling to hear feedback, unwilling. So, almost turn it into a conversation about feedback and how, maybe even list something that you had feedback from a former manager and how you responded to that manager and how you improved in that situation. Make it, again, going back to my answer to the last question, make it about fulfilling that person's needs, that hiring manager's needs, right? And because hiring managers ultimately are people managers. Whatever else they're managing people first. And the hardest part of the job is managing the people, especially if those people can't hear feedback. Make it about how you can hear feedback and about how you will use that to listen attentively to the manager's needs and then respond to it. That is, I think, the best answer I ever got when I would ask that question.
Anybody else want to talk about feedback? One of the things I learned or heard from somebody was talk about something that happened in your first job. Well, back when I was first, out of college and I had my first job, I messed up doing X. And I learned, this is what I learned from it, and it hadn't cropped up since or something. So you talk about something that happened 25 years ago.
Yeah, I would just build on that, Jeff. Yeah, talk about something, lesson learned early in your career, show how you addressed it throughout your career. And then, of course, most importantly, make sure it's something that's not super pertinent to the job.
Right.
So if you're applying for a sales job, you can't be anything a sales related activity. Have it be something totally different, like public speaking, something. So just to minimize that weakness, and then only give one. If they ask you for three, just give one.
Anybody else want to talk about weaknesses? All right, anybody, what else do you want to talk about? Here we go.
Hey, this is Kim Nagley. I want to talk a little bit about job fairs. So on the front page of the Dallas Business section, it says job fair draws thousands. And one of our folks here went to it. He might talk about it a little bit here. But then also we have the Dallas Meetup event. I'd like to, if maybe Jeff and Walt, if you guys know anything about those type of events. I get a little bored with all the looking at the computer and more ways to get face-to-face interaction and see if there's people around there that you'd like to work with. Hey, you want to talk about the?
Yeah, tell us about yesterday.
Sure, I was in attendance at that event yesterday. Talked to the congressman. Up to 30,000 people attended, and there was 650 employees. But I did notice some tables, and I have another associate here. We did the same thing. Where there was nobody present, but significant number of people. But mostly what happened at that event is they rarely took a resume. They had you scan in to, they're like on the phone to check in or show interest, mention briefly what your name was. You had like 15 seconds and that was all you got. And it was a little bit challenged at that event because it's so large, knowing where to go to find the companies. What I would recommend you do is before the event, go through, apply for jobs at those companies so that when you're there, and this is very helpful for me because I have an interview later today with a company and another one next week, it looks like, is to tell them exactly what the job is that you applied for, the number or whatever, And the experience was if that HR person wasn't handling it, they knew who it was. Either that person was there at the event or they would refer you to somebody or give you a contact name. But you have to be patient. It's worth the time, but it's nothing else because it gets you key contacts. And if you didn't network, it's a great place to network with the people that were standing in line with also. They could help you in your job search because they would know people.
Go ahead.
And just if somebody knows about the Dell's meetup events, I'd like to hear some more about that.
Yeah, well, the one tomorrow, next week, the Dallas meetup at Texas Live is, hand up, here we go.
I also went to that hiring event yesterday, and some of the ones that I went to, I actually gave out quite a bit of resumes. I think it's just a matter of where you go. It was also nice because I'm part of Dallas HR and North Texas SHRM, and some of the people that were at the tables actually belong to some of those events, and so I was able to, when they, oh, you're looking for work, oh, let me have your resume. Here's my card. I want you to go online and one of those people ended up being there for two companies. She was doing like a sublet for another company. And so it was great because it was one of the companies that I was interested in. I will say that when I left there, I was exhausted beyond belief. I thought I'd ran a marathon because you're trying to get around people, but at the same time, you're trying to hit the tables that you want. I did find it a little challenging. They kept saying that it was in alphabetical order. I don't know what alphabet they were using, but it wasn't the normal. And the crazy thing is like he said, there were tables that were empty, and then they didn't have proper direction to tell you, which floors, because there was a whole bunch of them up on the skybox, but they were never getting anybody to come. And so they ended up going down and taking over some of those empty spots. I would say most of the people that were at the tables were very friendly and willing to help and listen. There was one company that was not very helpful, and I won't mention their name, but it basically instilled in me that I don't want to work for them. If they're going to act that way at a job fair when you're supposed to be selling your organization, then it's not a company that I want to work for. So
I'll give it back to David in a minute. I too was there yesterday, and I will echo everything you guys said. I will also point out a couple of things. In many ways, it is a marketing adventure for these companies. I've learned, sadly, I've been to a few of these things, and I was surprised. What I've learned is you research ahead of time, and I spent a week and a half researching this and using AI to create a spreadsheet, and then I went, brought it up by location. Some of these were like looking for Oklahoma City. Well, but I don't want to work there. So I put a little red in my spreadsheet, and you spend a lot of time researching. And I came down to roughly about 15 that I might want to talk to. With 3 of my 5 did not show up. And the people I did talk to, I had a great conversation with a lady from Heidelberg Materials. Well, we don't have that, but we may have in October. Sure. But I said, well, tell me again your name. And so she took the resume I gave her and wrote her name on the back of my resume and gave it back to me. That's sending a nice signal, I thought. But you have to approach this with the sense of this is a commercial endeavor in addition to a job hunting endeavor. If you go in there knowing with medium expectations, and you'll get a chance, as David said, to talk to different people. I did talk to a number of people. Most were just job seekers as well. But I felt like being in part of that engagement was part of this whole journey, part of this process. Don't set high expectations. The one that Jeff and William have talked about, that seems interesting. I look forward to finding out more information about that. I think, is that the one that's nonprofits? And
Yes, all
okay.
nonprofits.
All right. So thank you.
Yeah, it'll be all nonprofit organizations next week.
I forgot to mention one new tactic that I saw at the event. I would encourage you all to take pictures of your resume on your phone, because when I went to the Toyota and I got to talk to somebody, you had to pre-register with them on the spot, and they required you to have your resume already on your cell phone to attach to their application. So in the future, if you go to any of these events, be prepared, have your current resume on your cell phone so that if they ask you on the application to attach a picture of it, you have that on your cell phone.
Okay.
Can I add one thing to that in terms of taking a picture? If you're needing to have decent documents, don't take a picture. When I was at EY, they made us load a program, an app called Turbo Scan on our phones, and we did business receipts, documents, everything. It is a far superior way to capture a document on your phone. You can email it to yourself, you can throw it in your gallery, you can create a PDF or JPEG, but the product is called Turbo Scan, and it's way better than taking a picture with your phone.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of the career fair, I was there too. I mean, it was very crowded, and most people, like they said, they use the QR code and they don't even pay attention to you. But the other thing I did was I tried to give them my QR code for my LinkedIn and try to connect with some recruiters in person. So that was the, I guess, positive takeaway from it, other than um, just generic stuff wasn't very useful.
Okay.
Just a couple of thoughts and certainly the job fairs front and center in everybody's mind, but any kind of big event that they do, Dallas Live or whatever, is kind of, have a goal. Like when you go to these events, because there's gonna be a lot of people there, what are you gonna try and accomplish by spending time there? Is it just general networking? Is it being more surgical? So figure that out up front, 'cause that'll help you kind of prepare, because you can get lost in the shuffle. Be more surgical, because in a big room, find smaller rooms, and if you only have good conversations with 5 people, even though you're in a room with 500, that's probably a victory. So focus on quality versus quantity of people you just talk to. Network, it goes without saying, especially when you're standing in line, whatever, to try and do your best to network. You just never know. Oftentimes that will lead to unexpected things. And then probably the most important thing that I've been guilty of is like the fortunes in the follow-up, right? You meet these people at these events and stuff like that, but the ones where the real dividends come is in like the follow-up. Because when you're at these events with hundreds of people, you're just a blur. Most recruiters, whoever, you probably aren't even going to remember who you are. So that follow-up is critical.
So how do you stand out when you don't go to talk to a recruiter? Suggestion that somebody who used to come to meetings all the time said, when I would go to a job fair, when I would meet a recruiter, I said, "Can I tell you a story?" And that story is one of your star stories about a time that I saved something, because now instead of just trying to remember your name or whatever, oh yeah, I had this one guy and told me a story about so and so, I was interested. So come up with a interesting story, quick 30-second story that you can tell somebody brand new as your introduction, and it'll stand out more. And if you don't want to take your resume, take a one-page bio for sure to leave with people and have. But I always like that, to tell a story when you go, because most people don't. Hi, my name is Joe. I'm Jeff. You're Sue. Yes. And okay, what are you looking for? So tell them a story. Oh yeah. And wear them. Hopefully everybody who went yesterday wore a name tag. Very important. A nice looking name tag, get it so it tells people who you are. It makes things much easier for everybody.
And that's something I did notice yesterday, that because I did have my name tag, that's something I noticed yesterday when I had my name tag, that they were automatically, even though they're talking to me, but they would automatically go down to where my name tag was, just so they could see the name.
Right. Yeah. Makes big difference. All right. What else can we talk about?
I need advice on something.
Okay. A bunch of people here want to give advice.
So how's the best way to prepare for, and this was an HR screen I had recently, it was over video, our cameras were on, but what's the best way to prepare for an interview when the HR interviewer is unprepared? This is my second time since I've been searching for a job that this has ever happened to me. And I'm torn between whether I kind of take over. But this person literally, it was obvious she was unprepared because as there was so much quiet time and I could tell she was looking through, I guess, their database of what questions to ask and then coming up with the questions on the fly type of thing. So there was a lot of silence. And when she did ask me the interview questions, I don't even know if she was really listening to me because I felt like just by her body language that she was focusing on finding the next question, although it was being recorded probably by AI. But she did admit that she's been swamped with interns because she's in charge of the intern program. And last week and this week were their last days and they were doing final presentations. So just wanted some advice. I did send her a thank you letter same day afterwards. And, thanking her. And then I did make sure to ask her before leaving the interview because she said I would hear back from her last Friday. So the interview was last Tuesday. So I did ask the question, if I don't hear back from you by Friday, may I contact you and what's the best way to contact you this week? Phone, email, and she said email. So I reached out to her, followed up an email on Wednesday, and still haven't heard back from her.
So this just came up in Pit Crew on Wednesday, and it was an overwhelming response of, you get to take control. You get to now steer that conversation and you get to display the highlights that you want to focus on versus having to reach for things that are focused on what they're asking you. You now get to drive and tell them why you are the best fit, because she probably didn't thoroughly review your resume. She probably did not even look at your LinkedIn. So it's like social media, we post our highlight reels. You get to now go in there and show her your most popular stuff, your best ratings.
The other thing I'd recommend is, take advantage of the silence, right? And ask questions. So, because oftentimes you can get information. Clearly, if this recruiter is ill prepared, you can at least use that time to ask them questions to find out more information about the role, the landscape, how many people are they recruiting, why is this role open? All those type of questions that oftentimes you run out of time at the end. So take advantage of that silence to gather intelligence.
Yep. Thank you.
Anybody else? Jennifer, I saw you had your hand up. Do you have a question or a comment?
I was the first one that shared. I just raised it just to raise it.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, recruiting, you don't necessarily get the most experienced recruiter doing the recruiting. So a lot of times they don't even know what the role is. They just were given a job description and said, go find me some people who match this. And that's difficult. Huh? And same in job fairs too. It's usually the person who drew the short straw that has to go to a job fair. So they don't want to be there any more than you do. All right, here, question.
Jeff, I liked your point about taking a bio like to a job fair. To me, that makes a lot more sense. But kind of along those lines, my question is, or what is people's experience? Do businesses want cover letters anymore? What is the role or the place of a cover letter these days when applying for a position somewhere? Like a cold, submitting an application online or something like that.
Right. Okay, comments about cover letters?
I think cover letter, you should only use it if they ask for it. Like in the application, you don't need to voluntarily do that, is what I feel, because it's kind of outdated. Most people don't ask, but sometimes they have a note section in the application. You could just put in a note. You could generate it via AI these days. So
I actually still use cover letters when I know the hiring manager directly or when I have a contact who can hand it to the hiring manager for me. If it's going through HR, typically, especially if it's a larger organization, like most of the organizations I typically apply to, HR is not going to see that or not going to pass it on to the hiring manager in most cases. So I have a job I've applied for and have a referral who knows the hiring manager directly and actually carried my cover letter in an email, not physically, but took it, emailed, forwarded it on directly to the hiring manager in that case. So if you have that connection, and I'd say that most of your best connections will be through some kind of networking situation like that, where you either know the hiring manager directly or know someone who can, hand it off for you. Cover letters can be very effective. Whenever I was interviewing before, if I got a cover letter, it showed an extra attention to detail, right? If they knew they had a connection and they tried to use that to get that cover letter in front of me, just to make sure that it's a well-written cover letter, right? Make sure that it's following the proper format. And again, that the content of the cover letter is about what you will do for them, right? How you can fill the role, fill the need, help them out. As long as it's doing that, I think cover letters can be very effective. But I agree with what's been said that they're not effective if you're just shooting in the dark, hoping this gets to the hiring manager. It probably won't get there.
Right.
The Walt Glass theory on cover letters. Number one, they'll either read it or throw it away. In either case, does it hurt you? So send it. I mean, it's not a negative that you included a cover letter, so they may not look at it, but they might. And so go ahead and send one. There's no negative. There's nothing wrong in attaching it. So if they ignore it, they ignore it. But there it is if they need it.
But I think if you send a cover letter, like you said, it's got to be formatted correctly. And the format that I recommend is a T cover letter. So first paragraph is, where I saw the job posted at. I'm very interested in this following position, requisition, A, B, C, D, whatever it is. And then the middle part of your reference letter is a T cover letter where you say, you're looking for this, I've got this. You want this, I've done this. You want this, I've done it. So you give them a 20-second overview of your resume. They don't have to go in deep dive to see that you meet 3 or 4 of the top goals that they have in their job description. And so I think, as long as you do a T cover letter, that's the way to do a reference letter.
That's the letter T, I think. T cover letter.
Well, some people actually do it so it's in 2 sections where you have, 2 columns, 1 column, is what you want, and here's how I meet those goals. Or you can just do line by line just to mention 2 or 3 things. But I like the T format because it stands out a little bit more.
Yeah, the T format, the opening statement, and then the you need, I have, or I can, or something like that. Be careful on using AI because people can understand and look and say, I know that this is an AI generated document because AI generates the same type of thing over and over again. And so I say, okay, so if your letter or your resume looks like it's AI generated, it's easily seen and is a negative. So take your AI information and I'm hiring you, I'm not hiring AI. So just a tip.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
I just added the handouts, sample handouts into chat from Career DFW.
Okay, so we'll get that up to be in the chat tomorrow. Okay. Just the thing I used to do when I was looking, when I would send a cover letter, that became the first page of my 3-page document that they would get. So I would send it as a PDF, and the first page would be my cover letter. The second page would be the first page of my resume, and the third page would be the second page of my resume. That way, it was always grouped together. If they wanted to split it up, they'd have to have the software to do it, but I would know that they would get everything at one time.
Hey, Jeff, this is Ron Layton.
Yeah, Ron. Oh, hi, Ron.
Hi. I'm not going to turn on my picture. I've worked in the yard the last 2 hours. I'm not a pretty sight.
When you copy the chat, it's going to give it to you in a text doc. I put a link that I posted on the Dallas Pit Crew site that gives you a Claude script that will turn this text file into a Word doc with active hyperlinks.
Okay, thank you. All right, what else can we talk about? Anything else but cover letters? Ultimately, yes, it can't hurt. And it doesn't take that long, especially if you know, the first and last paragraph's always going to be the same for what, you're just changing the job description. And the middle is where you just do a quick adaptation. So yeah, some recruiters do it, some don't. I mean, I'm sure, you'd ask a whole room full of recruiters, it'd probably be 50-50.
I don't read the resumes either. So.
They'd be really read the resume. All right, what else can we talk about? Yes.
I've recently applied for a couple positions and I was able to connect with someone that had a connection. And then so they said, okay, here's the link. And so they weren't going to do the introduction, which was totally fine. I just am curious when I send that introduction to the referral that I was given, how do I start that part of the conversation? Hi, I'm such and such, and I was recommended by or referred by specific person. I've applied for a position. I want to touch base, connect, talk about do an informational interview. I'm not sure what I need to say.
What you're looking for is advice and contacts.
Okay.
That's what
Advice
what I was always asking
Okay.
or ask for.
Okay.
And I'm just looking for advice and contact. I'm never looking for a job.
Okay.
I'm just looking for advice and contacts. And if you meet somebody and they go, oh, well, you happen to fill the needs of what I'm currently looking for right now, let's talk about what I need.
Okay.
So I love those two words, advice and contacts.
Yeah, I just build on that's I think the easiest path because most people love to give advice and oftentimes they're flattered that you're asking them for it, and most people I think deep down want to help other people. It's kind of the easiest, quickest way to do it. And then the contacts, if you feel awkward with that, just say, hey, who else should I be talking to? That might know more about this or give deeper insight into it. I found those two being very helpful.
Yeah, I took a job once up in Rochester, New York, and when I kept track of everything in my notebook, this was back before really computers, it was my 7th degree connection. So one person talked second, the third, the fourth, fifth. It was the 7th degree was where I've actually found the job at.
AI prompt that might be beneficial. So I entered into AI, said, list the top 250 companies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by industry and which ones offer referral bonuses to their employees. I only want those that offer referral bonuses. That might help narrow down our search and know, this is how I might want to use that.
Okay, any other comments? Questions? What else can we ask? Okay, we're not done, so too early to leave. All right, question.
What's the toughest part of job search? Somebody said the interview, which that was I didn't pay her to say that.
I think all parts are equally tough.
We have a lot of tough parts. What's the tough part? And how can we address it? We help each other get through the toughest part.
Toughest part is getting picked for the shortlisted for the interview. The first, like the resume, I mean, getting noticed. Because when you apply online, most of the time you just get a generic response, even if you have good.
Control.
I think having patience.
Selling yourself.
Patience, yeah. You need to have patience as you're sending out all these applications and resume. You're going to get turned down. I've been turned down over the past 2 years for 300 jobs. And it's jobs I qualify for, but there's always somebody better. So you need to be patient and wait on God to provide the job he would have you in.
I would say for me, it's definitely it dovetails into patience, but like being resilient. Because I mean, job search, I don't know if you guys have found it. I mean, it's like you pull a lot of different levers, doing all the different things you're supposed to do, and you don't quite know which lever is going to be the unlock, right? That gets you success. So it's almost you can't do a shotgun when you try everything because that can be counterproductive. It's kind of almost like that test and learn about, okay, try this. No, that didn't work. You know, that being resilient to kind of constantly course correct. It was difficult. I mean, it just is. Some days it's easier than others. So that would be it for me.
I have a comment online. One thing that's not necessarily hard but frustrating for me is that when I do have a referral, an inside referral for a job that I'm interested in, the problem is that different companies have different referral processes, and the HR people do not even communicate to their internal employees what that process is. So I've gotten burned before because some companies, they just want you to apply through the regular official process. And it's like you juggle whether you're waiting to hear back from the person on the inside to get back to you, but at the rate that applications are going, a popular job can get over 100 respondents within the day. So I'm torn between whether to go ahead and apply to be an early applicant or wait for the insider who might not get back to me in time. And a recent job that I had applied for, the person, typed the recommendation for me, sent it to HR, but then I found out, well, I had already applied and the HR got back to me, and they attached a link. But when I hit the link, of course, it said I had already applied. So that's what frustrates me, because even the people that and they think they know what the process is but it's always evolving. And so I'm torn with because I've even asked the insiders to check with their HR to see, is there a referral link to be sent? It's different at different companies. So I just wish that would be better, so it's easier for us job seekers when we are communicating with an insider. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts or how they handle that kind of thing, but
it is a tricky thing to navigate. I think, this is kind of through trial and error, is that, you have your list of target companies, and those are the ones that you mine the contacts in early or kind of ahead of the game on. But then you got to be open and flexible for the stuff that just drops in where you're, because we know how the game is. A job drops and the clock is ticking. The online portal fills up quickly. And so I think you have to have basically an approach to handle both. The ones, target where you're proactive, where you do all that stuff up front, do the referrals, and then be flexible to deal with the ones that just, drop in and you have to hop on quickly.
Thank you.
On this topic of, do you apply as soon as you see the job posting or do you wait? In the company where I was working, at least, it didn't matter if the referral came after they had already applied or before. The referral could still, in most cases, be attached. So if you do get a link that says, click here to apply, and it says you've already applied, reach back out to the HR person or your contact who did the referral and say, hey, this happened. Could you check with HR and make sure that your referral still got attached, right? Just follow up on that and say, hey, explain the situation. Did it get attached, or do I need to do some other process to make sure your referral gets attached? I want to make sure you get this referral, credit. And then as far as, do you submit when you see that online? I see LinkedIn, I see the jobs come up all the time. I go on the websites, I see the job, sign up for the email notifications for the jobs. And so I go and I look at it. I am of the opinion that you don't want to go and just submit the same resume to every single job. I am of the opinion, have a template resume that lists out your skills, utilize AI or something else then to help tailor that resume so I can feed a job description and my resume. I have my resume in a Google document. I can attach Google documents to Gemini and then get a link to the job description and feed that into Gemini and say, help me tailor my resume to this job description. It will actually spit out a version of my resume that has the keywords in it that are in that particular thing. And then here's the key. Read it. Read it. Because AI is not perfect. It will not. You don't just immediately go attach that and upload it because it will be misspelled at times. There will be all kinds of things wrong with it. Read it, edit it, and then only then submit it. But if you do that for every single job, the way most of these larger companies work, when I would post a job at my former company, we would get 500 submissions in a day for each job that I posted. Without AI, we're not going through those 500 applications. So the AI is automatically weeding out people who don't meet qualifications. How does it do that? Keywords. It looks for keywords within their resume. Make sure your resume has those keywords. That's why I say tailor your resume to the job description. The job description will have keywords. Make sure those keywords appear in your resume. Then the AI will pick out your resume as the short list. Then HR is going to do the same thing. They're going to be going through before the hiring manager ever touches it. An HR real person is now going to do the same thing that the AI just did. They're going to maybe do a little bit more detailed inspection, but they're still going to be looking for keywords. They're going to have an interview with the hiring manager ahead of time, say, what are you looking for? Hiring manager is going to then tell them, and they're going to go through, but they're not going to know what the hiring manager does. They're just going to be based on what they spoke with the hiring manager. They're going to be looking for what the hiring manager told them. So that's a little bit more detailed than those keywords, but it's still keywords, right? Making sure that you've got key phrases at that point, right? About how you apply to the needs in that job, the needs of that hiring manager. And then the last step is the hiring manager themselves. That's where you really need the detail. That's where the cover letter pays off. That's where you really need to be able to really sell yourself. So it's the quick sell with the keywords, a little bit more sell with the HR person, and then the real sell with the hiring manager. If you can get through, and the question about what's the hardest part and the easiest part to overcome is that quick AI generation gonna weed you out. It's the easiest thing to overcome. Most people don't do it. They just feed the same resume again and again and again and again. Don't do that. Feed a tailored resume to each job that you are looking for. And with AI, ironically, you don't even have to work that hard to do it, right? AI will help you do that.
I just shared a link in the chat. There's a website called Enhanced CV. Gives a pretty accurate score of your resume. You can get an ATS score. So take a look at that. Thanks.
Jeff, I want to say if you're using AI to generate your cover letters and your resumes, you need to read it out loud because your eyes can deceive you.
Thank you. Good suggestion.
Amen. Amen to that. I've had it, you really have to, unless you give it really stringent guidelines, it will hallucinate and make stuff up based on your background. So you got to be very careful to proofread anything that AI generates for you.
Yeah, I think any AI comment you use, you always have to say, do not hallucinate. Just
That
take,
doesn't do any good, though. It makes stuff up. It gives you references that aren't pertinent to what it's looking for. They are in such a hurry to get new versions of AI out that they're not even testing their own stuff.
yeah.
So one of the things that I have learned this year about AI is that research and documentation says the meaner you are to AI, And the tighter that you put the parameters, the more accurate that it will become. So you need to become like a parent that has a petulant child. And statistics say it becomes more personalized to you and starts really coming into line.
So I get the point about keywords that we're talking about, right, when you're tailoring your resume. But I've also heard that hiring managers hate, or they now have AI that looks for resumes that look like they were generated by AI. So does anybody have any tips on what's the balancing point there?
I actually, at my former role, looked directly under the hood at all these AI algorithms that are being used both in HR as well as for the other financial service products that we would do at the bank. And, you know, the thing you need to remember about AI is not intelligent. It's called artificial intelligence. It is not intelligent. It is not like a calculator. If you put 2 plus 2 into a calculator, the way the calculator does it is it has the value for 2 stored and it adds it to itself, and then you get 4. Okay, but that is not what an AI is doing. If you put 2 plus 2 into an AI, it might tell you 5. And the reason is because it will query a database of previous responses. And if enough people tell the database that 2 plus 2 equals 5, it'll say the most probable answer is 5, and therefore the answer to 2 plus 2 is 5. And so the AI can be wrong. Well, the so-called hallucinations are actually just a high enough probability of this being the right answer. And it just happens that it's not that it's giving the wrong answer as the way probability science works. It's actually giving the right answer according to probability. It's just giving the wrong answer according to the, actual answer. That's not the actual answer. We as humans can determine the difference, but AI cannot because it's running on probability engine. And so you have to think about it like that. It is not intelligent. It's probability. And so for that reason, that's why I say you have to read what it puts out, whether that's a resume or whether that's something else entirely. Whatever AI is putting out, read it and see if it matches with your human intellect and understanding. If it does, great, use it. If it doesn't, so to get back to this question about how do you differentiate, read it. Okay, after the AI puts it out, read it and make sure you change something about it. As long as you are tailoring it to be your output, it's still your output, even if it started as AI, right? The same thing going for when I was a manager of a team and I would ask someone to write a report on something and they would give me that report. That was a first draft. I, as the manager, know more. I've got 15 years experience. I know more about this than they do. So I know if I'm giving someone who's been on my team 6 months, just graduated from college 6 months before that, I'm not going to take the first draft they give me and hand it to my boss, right? I would get fired. So I take the first draft that they give me. It's a good starting point, but then I would revise it, change it. Then I take that and I present it to my boss, right? So it's still my output, it's still my work, and I would give credit to the person on my team who gave me the first draft and say they helped with this presentation, right? But I'm not going to go present that directly unchanged to my boss.
If I get my output back from AI and I'm like, I love this resume, it's great.
No, it's not bad. It just means that you have had a talented quote unquote talented AI, right? Just like you would have a talented first year recruit in your business who wrote a great report right off the bat. But you have to think about AI like you think about a very valuable tool, but not a person, right? A very valuable tool that does a lot of things well, but not everything well. And you have to think about it like that. As long as you are tailoring it so that it no longer sounds like AI, those AI tools that are spotting AI probably won't flag it. The other thing you have to realize is they may flag it even if you never used AI, because again, it works on a probability engine. So it's saying, what is the probability that this was generated with AI? You might be a person who just sounds like AI when you write.
I mean, definitely. I mean, if you use AI, I view AI as just an accelerator, like speed to draft. And so then you take that up, make sure it's accurate. Then you make sure if you can somehow be in your voice, kind of reflect you a little bit better. and then make it so that it reads better as a resume. So one knock on AI, it sounds like AI, but it's word salad, right? You get a bunch of buzzwords that basically say nothing. And so it's like, put it in terms that it's going to, like if you have a bullet point in there on your resume, it's like, I generated this value by doing this. I generated this value by doing this. Like in every single, because that's going to respond to a human. Human's going to read that like, okay, I get it. So this is what they did, and it makes sense.
That's where contexting and context engineering prompting comes in, right? So like when I talk with AI, there's when I first used to use ChatGPT, it used to give this hash sign for every time it gives a response, right? The hash something, but that's not how I type and chat. So I trained the AI, said, give me a response that sounds like me, or you keep training it, it gets better and it responds like you. So that's one way you want to do it.
So I just give everybody a perspective from a hiring manager. So I've been out of a job for a month, and I haven't looked for a job in 40 years. But I had my daughter, who is a research director at UT Southwestern, take a look at the AI generated resume, and she read like two sentences. She goes, "Dad, I don't look at any resumes that come in. It's through my network kind of thing. But if I were to look at this, I could tell right away it's an AI generated resume. And I need people here that have very good written communication skills. So this is basically kind of a waste of time for you." So I'll just give you my perspective from being a supply chain manager for a very large company with a $400 million spend that I had, and as president of ISM Dallas, which is the Purchasing Managers Association here in Dallas. I always had people coming to the monthly meeting, one or two, who were out of a job, looking for a job, and that was about 15 years ago when I did that. But too much time, in my opinion, spent in front of the computer, and it's kind of like threading a needle to get through the HR people who've oftentimes got a different agenda than the hiring manager, and the hiring managers are going to go with their network kind of thing. So you can, to me, it's networking or not working. Yeah, you have to use this, and AI can give you some real good ideas, some themes. It did for me, but you got to get back to meeting people, because the bottom line, after hiring managers look at the resumes and of people that's referred from their network, then they're going to go, is this somebody that I'd like to work with? Is this somebody we'd like to have on our team? And the only way you find that out is talking to them.
Yeah, I also say in an interview, pretend we're stuck at the Denver airport and we have a 6-hour delay before the plane's going to take off. What are we going to talk about for the next 6 hours? Do I have that? Can I have that kind of relationship with the person I'm going to hire? Is it somebody I like? We can get along. It's all about communication.
But it takes a lot of work to do that. And it's in front of the computer, you give yourself a false sense of security. And I'm not saying you don't need to do your homework, but you get a false sense of security and productivity. But you're feeding it to the HR screening department. And the hiring managers are going to look at their own network.
On this same topic of, the resume is important and all, but the most important thing, I couldn't agree more. The most important thing is not about resume or cover letter. It's about that conversation that you have. And one of the things I've noticed that seems to be not that most people don't seem to have is an elevator pitch. What's the 30-second hook that you have? Hi, my name is, I have this much experience in, and I will do for you this, right? 30-second pitch. You can literally say it on an elevator ride between, floors 1 and 2, right? And people seem to lose that skill. We were talking about the job fair. I also was there. My wife was there. And for me, the thing that I got out of it was, all the contacts, but also just practicing that elevator pitch, being able to walk up to 100 people in an hour and shake their hand, look them in the eye, and give that elevator pitch. And then the elevator pitch sometimes just ends with the pitch and it's like, well, it's real nice to meet you. And then sometimes it generates a conversation. And that's really what you're looking for, is the conversation that happens afterward, where that elevator pitch turns into a conversation about your skills, what you will apply, how you will be a benefit to them. If that happens, I think that that is a follow-up lead that's promising. You want to follow up on everything, but you really want to make sure you follow up on those things where you saw a spark happen, a conversation happen, it went deeper. Make sure you follow up with those people first. Make sure you reach out to those people. Say, hey, remember me? I was the nerdy guy who talked about this, or I was the guy who, we had this. Make sure to give them a context, because again, they're talking to hundreds of people, maybe even thousands. So just make sure that you give them a context, and then, try to follow up that conversation with another conversation, right? And then look them up and see, who do I know that they know, right? And maybe I can make that connection so that now it's not just a conversation between you and them, it's a conversation between you and them and this other third person who they also know.
So one thing I would always tell people is take a blank sheet of paper, put your name in the middle, and then draw a line to friends, family, and people that you have connection with. I found about Career USA through a guy that I masters swim with. And he had been, kind of suddenly like me without a job. And it's like, what really helped me was getting in the pool. And that really helps. Any kind of exercise activity helps kind of clear the brain. But the thing is, we're spending a lot of time in front of the computer, and there's stuff out there to use. But I myself haven't done my own medicine, sit down and write down all my different connections, because I've got several that I just really haven't contacted yet, because I've kind of been in the techie stuff. And just from our meeting here last week, I got a couple good connections, and I've already got added a couple people to my network that are more aligned with kind of where I'm looking. So it's networking or not working, and spend a little time on your strategic, write that network down and talk to those people. Might not be a business connection, friends, family, volunteer work. That's where it's at.
Something one of our past speakers talked about when we used to do Networking Monday. She said, open up your phone and go through pictures from 5, 6, 7 years ago. Find a picture of somebody you used to work with. So, hey, your picture just popped up. How are you doing? Just as here's a way to start a conversation with somebody you haven't talked to for a while. Hey, your picture just popped up. Or if you're on Facebook or something, you've got a corporate photo, and hey, I just, this just popped up. I was just thinking about you. How you doing? Can we talk? That's a great way to just open up a connection. Find an old picture on your phone. Her talk was, you probably already know everybody you need to know. Think about that.
Be sure that your LinkedIn profile is consistent with whatever resume you send. Now, it doesn't have to be identical, but Jeff and I both preach the master resume. And so you got 7 or 8 bullets for every little area. You say, okay. I was looking at a resume and it's got like 8 or 9 bullets, 4 pages long, which is not going to make sense, but that might be my master resume. And then I copy it over and I say, what are the 3 or 4 bullets, and what order should I put them in, order of importance, so that when they go look at my profile, they see the same data there. So you're not inconsistent. So if we're not consistent, that's going to be a problem, because, well, what are you really looking for? Because that's different than this. So ensure the consistency. Now I'll give you a tip. Since I've been on the pit crew, and I do, I'm a panelist on interview, I generate interview questions every week. And I look at the job description and look at that. And what I used to do, I'd go through the job description. So that area, this one, okay, I like that. I want to ask that. I want to ask that. Like, go over to this. I want to know about that. I want to know about that. I want to know about that. And then I generate my questions. All right. It's pretty simple. So now I use AI. I ask him, I said, okay, what questions should I ask based on the resume, and what questions? I pick out one or two. The rest of them are trash. They're not really that good. But if I say, give me the areas of what you think are most important and what areas I need to concern and put questions in that particular order, then I say, oh, I need to ask a question about this area, this area. And so I go back and say, oh, let me do a question out of that particular area. So I can use it that way to help me with doing that. But if I did that, then everybody's on the panel going to ask the same questions. You know, everybody's using that. Okay. And so we all have the same, and that's not the way we really want to do it. But you can use it to help you, but don't use it to replace you.
Okay, what else can we talk about? Question, I see a hand up. Who is that?
I'm Sergio.
Sergio. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, quick question. I guess on a first interview, is it required for companies to ask to complete a brief skills assessment prior to the interview with the HR or even after? I've been asked either or. And what is it for?
So a skills assessment. Anybody? Excuse me? So what is the question? About having having them do a skills assessment before you take the interview?
Yes.
Has anybody had those where you have to go answer something beforehand?
I've had those, and usually it doesn't turn out positive. That's just, I mean, but one thing about it is I did have one where I got in the middle of it and I was like, no, this is not for me. So in that way, it's kind of good because you can figure out even before you mess with an interview. And I did. I got back with the person. I said, yeah, I appreciate you sending that, but you know, I just don't think this is what I'm looking for.
So in my opinion, the skills assessment is something is like mandatory homework, but not one necessarily created by a company. But just looking back on mid-career, I'm a little later in career, is when I went for my MBA at SMU, the first new student week for the 150 MBA candidates, everybody took the strong interest test, the Myers-Briggs, the kind of interest aptitude kind of test. Then later on, I had it done by where I went undergrad, University of Illinois, our Alumni Career Center. But I think that is like a foundation to make sure mid and later career, you may not find out anything that's really different, but it's gonna highlight different things that you're good at. Like I'm a very enterprising individual. I like running my own operation and things like that. But there is also a company that specializes in attribute, Johnson and O'Connor. It costs you about $1,000, but they do that kind of work. They're a nonprofit. They've been around for 50 years. You got to pay them about $900 or $1,000. But the skills thing and what you are best at and what your personality type is, and the strong interest test matches you and your specific kind of things that you're really good at to like the top ones in maybe 10 career fields. So I strongly recommend that, especially if I don't like what I'm doing, or just making sure you've done your homework and then you really solidify what you're all about.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Comments?
I have a pessimistic view of that, but still might have to follow the rules. My pessimistic view is you're having something else do your work for you. So you're using keywords, you're using this, and so we play the keyword game and all that. These assessment tests assess different areas. They do different things. Which test are they using? So I would ask, which test is that? And if you're not familiar with it, look it up, because Myers-Briggs is very different from using, what's the one that everybody uses today? Strength finders. Okay, strength finders doesn't measure the same thing that most of the other tests do. And so what are they really assessing and doing that? And then I personally would have a tendency to answer what I think they want to know rather than what I know. So I messed with the test and I said, well, it looks like this would be a better answer than this one. And so I'll better answer. So I don't, if I have given that, if I'm in that, I don't trust the assessment even in itself. So if it's a company where you want to work, if it's a place where you think, follow their rules, do the test, go forward with it and do that. But anyway, it's not going to change anything one way or the other. But that's my suggestion.
I disagree. It can change things. There's a possibility that what your strengths are line up with what they're looking for. And if you're not answering the test accurately, if you're lying to yourself on the test, well, then that's what you get. Honestly, Walt, with all due respect, it sounds like you don't trust yourself.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm not going to say you're full of ass, okay?
Well, that's what you just said. You said I
I
lied to
did
the
not
test.
say that the test could not do an accurate assessment of you, all right? I just say that people are using them to do their homework with them, and then they may be skewed, they may be not right, they may be like that. I don't trust them myself. I will verify myself. But yes, it may find a match. It may be the one that does the match. It's not, I'm not saying they're all bad, they're all wrong. But yeah, you might find something that, that works for you and does that. But in either case, you're either going to take the test or not. So if you want to work there, you take the test, whatever it might be. But what I'm looking for are people who are more interested in talking to me. And all we do is spend 90% of our time trying to be found instead of spending our time finding. And if we don't find what we're looking for. So anyway, so I respectfully disagree with you.
That didn't start out so respectful.
Hi, David Watrous. I would suggest first, and this has been helping me, is they usually tell you what the test name is or the company is that you're going to take the test from. What I've found is then if I have the time, I go and I do research on that particular company and that test and look for as many comments or things that people have said, so I'm better able to take the test. And if I can find former employees of that company that have had to take the test, I've had that happen. They've helped me. But I still say you have to be genuine, but then push through, even if they say, hey, you don't match up our ideal quote unquote person for this job, say, but here's how I can solve your problems. And here's how I can help you increase your profitability.
You have a comment or?
No.
Okay. Anybody else? I always say before you have to take one of those tests, take a stiff drink first. So you just, first time you look at the answer to a question, just answer it. So
Don't think about it.
don't think about them. Just answer what comes out. All right, what else can we answer? We got a time for one more question. One more topic. Anybody in here? Anybody online? Who's got your hand up? Oh, Chris, you got a question? No, I think it's just it's my mouse. Mouse converts to a hand. Anything else? All right, let me share a few more slides and we'll get out of here today. Let's see here. Next week, we talked about, come on here. We talked about ChatGPT and other options. And so next week, Rusty Wright will be with us. Now, there's a nuance about next week, and everybody needs to listen very carefully. We will not be here. We will be online only. I'm flying out of town Friday morning, so I'm not going to be here. Somebody else is going to be leading me meeting. Walt's on vacation, so it'll be online only next week. If you show up here, the doors will be locked and you won't be able to get in. I was hoping they'd be opening at the doors just because the church I thought would be opening because Plano schools open up next week. So online only. Rusty Wright will be with us to talk about ChatGPT for job search success. Yep. All right. This video will get uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch it and go back. Every video I post goes into one of 7 different playlists. So if you select playlist and then at the very bottom you see view full playlist, you'll see all the different topics we've talked about in the North Dallas group. I've got over 760 videos posted on the website. Go back and watch them. Any of the North Dallas videos, the speakers or event doesn't start till about 30 minutes in. So just know you want to fast forward through the first 30 minutes. Next Tuesday for LinkedIn Tuesday, Kurt Vonnegut will be with us to talk about LinkedIn from a recruiter's point, how he tries to find you. So he'll talk about that and any questions you have about retained search consultants, he'll talk about that. The practice interview team is meeting in person right here in this room from 1 to 3 o'clock on Wednesday. And then, like I said, next Friday, no in-person, online only next Friday. So I'm going to make everybody say that again, online only next Friday. Don't show up here. You can stay in your pajamas next Friday. All right. So upcoming next week, AI and your job search on the 21st, the job search ecosystem. This is a brand new presentation that Paul has put together. There will be no recording available of that presentation. So if you want to see it, you will need to watch it live. And then PJ Dunn will be with us on the 28th to talk about Clifton strengths. Today, how many people think they'll join us at Mama's Pizza? Anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So whoever gets there, get us a table for at least 5, 6 people. Whoever gets there first. You want a picture? You like the picture of the pizzas? Okay. 2130 West Parker Road. Okay. All right. Just a reminder, once again, we are not going to be here in person next week, online only. I'll get the meeting started from the airport, but my plane takes off while you're all meeting today. So no in-person meeting next week. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Have a great Friday, and we will see you online next week.